there. Thank you very much for tuning in. Welcome to Pepper's Echo, the live echo. This is the NA discussion. Welcome to our very highly educated, street-dedicated Nelius on the other side there. Thank you very much. And today we have we are very, very honored to have a massively fantastic, dedicated guest here. That is what you saw in the beginning there. Arnold Bosman from Urban Viking. He does self-defense, gun tactics, and we're going to be picking his brain on that. Arnold, thanks so much for joining us. It's an absolute honor and such a great opportunity for us to have someone like you on the show at the moment.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm just checking that beginning. Hoendervleis. Chicken meat.
That was just a Tuesday, don't worry.
I'd love to say I made that video. I didn't make it. I unfortunately just had to change the sound because otherwise this video wouldn't hit the stay on the waves at all because of copyrights and things like that. But yeah, amazing stuff that you do there. Amazing stuff. We've got a very dedicated man, Devon. How's it, Devon? Sophia, always there with us as well. Our fact checker and everything. Always up first with us there. But yeah, baie dankie. Thank you so much. It's having someone of your caliber is really, you know what, a great honor, especially so new into our channel. Nelius and I having a lot of fun chatting with about certain things, and yeah, politics does get a little bit sawn off, so it's nice having something interesting and something useful going around. So yeah,
thanks for having us.
And I do believe, Nelius, that I saw a familiar face in those videos.
Yeah, Andre, there's a part of me not a lot of people in Cambodia know about, is that I'm also actually involved with Urban Viking Warrior. But can I start off by saying, man, I feel like one of those kids who actually want to go run around the garden and actually start picking sticks that look like guns, you know. I haven't actually shot a firearm in about, almost 2 years, Arnold, I think.
2 years.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to shoot one again, but yeah, that's basically Urban Viking Warrior. I'll let Arnold talk a little bit more about where we're from, what it's about, what we stand for. It's more than just a normal, run-of-the-mill martial arts school or self-defense school, for that matter. It's a little bit of a different take, and I think that very big things are coming. There are some very exciting projects in the pipeline for Urban Viking Warrior at this point in time. So, Arnold, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Urban Viking Warrior? You know, where it started, what it entails. You know, everything that goes into it, the different martial arts, the different ways of thinking. Because of course we know that martial arts and self-defense is definitely not just about physical ability, but we'll speak about that a little bit later. Arnold, why don't you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, give us an introduction. Tell us all about you.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, Nelius. Little shit that I was privileged to have one of my students, you know, that I had to send overseas to get rid of him, you know. But, just joking. Yeah. So a little bit about myself. I've been into this now most part of my life, but mostly in my adult life I got into it a little bit more intensely. I've been through a lot of schools, started down in a lot of different aspects of martial arts, from karate through Filipino martial arts, Israeli Krav Maga, CQC, CQB, handgun training, knife defense. So it all sounds cool, and the thing is that you can learn as many stuff as possible from anybody that's a proper instructor, you know. So it took me a while to get to a point where I could get actually someone to teach me the proper stuff. Because nothing against other martial arts or anything like that. What Urban Viking does is we don't specialize in one certain thing, like say guns or only Krav Maga or only Kali sticks or hand-to-hand combat, anything. We like to throw in everything into the pot to give you as much experience for a real life situation as possible. And it took me a while to get to this point where I can actually say that I think what we train is actually something that's going to be able to be efficient and help you on the street. Because a lot of people think as soon as you start doing something like, take for instance Taekwondo or Muay Thai, I'm gonna learn it in 6 months to a year. I'm gonna be this John Claude, that's I'm gonna walk away from any danger and never get hurt, which is a bullshit story. You're gonna end up dead. Yeah, you're gonna end up dead. And I'm not saying that that you're not gonna walk away. You never know what can happen in a situation, especially here in South Africa. Stuff's quite a little bit hectic. But my point is, what I'm trying to get across, I think, is the more you can train, the more you're going to be safe. The more you're going to get yourself out of a situation of, say, violence or conflict or confrontation or anything like that. That's what we're trying to do, is save people's lives or get them to help themselves to save their own lives. Because at the end of the day, it's only you. It's going to be you and your own. You're going to be responsible for yourself. And that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, fantastic. That's actually a very good point you're bringing up. I kind of thought we would start by talking about, before we jump into the Krav Maga aspect, the self-defense, the knives, the sticks, the guns, the skills, all of those things. It's very important that people know that martial arts and self-defense, as well, not even as a concept, especially in practice, it's become so romanticized from I would say from the 70s about. The Kung Fu cinema era that started, everybody wants to be a Bruce Lee. It got reinvigorated in the mid 90s, early 2000s, around when the action movies started coming out. We see things like John Wick, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like all of these guys, and there's money to be made in this industry. People need to understand that there's massive money to be made. However, you're not going to get there in 6 months. This is what a lot of people don't understand on the one hand, and on the other hand, a lot of schools and instructors actually take advantage of that to make money and make promises of, I'll make
that's what I wanted to know about.
in something like that I know Arnold is very passionate about as well.
Yes.
Is something like a knife defense. We've got a saying in the gym, for those of you who don't know, me and Arnold have been training together since, I think it was around about 2014, we started doing Krav Maga together.
Yes, around about there, you're right.
Yeah, so before that, I've been doing martial arts since that was 2012. Since 2012, so I've almost got about 8 years beyond, training behind me too. I obviously started in mixed martial arts, went over to specialized in Muay Thai, did a couple of title fights in that, carried on. Look, and even myself, almost being, I haven't even done it for a full 10 years. And I don't see myself as completely, fully proficient as anybody would see in the movies, disarming weapons and saving lives and being the hero and everything. That's most definitely not what it's about. So it's being taken advantage of from both points. The guy who wants to be the hero, who's willing to pay a shitload of money to become the hero within 6 months, and also the school and the instructor who make these promises but aren't completely proficient themselves. And I think in lieu of what's been happening in South Africa recently, and I'm not going to go into politics at all, it's very important that self-defense is taken very, very seriously in a country like South Africa, because your points of engagement are so much more, and the chances that you're going to need these skills in South Africa are much, much higher than I would argue 95% of other countries around the world. So that it's a really, really important thing to know that, guys, if you want to take up self-defense, any form of martial arts, you're not going to get there in 6 months. You're not going to get there in a year. After about a year and a half, you start getting proficient in, I would say, one discipline. Arnold, you know more about these things. Why don't you elaborate a little bit about what self-defense is about, what people don't know, misconceptions about what self-defense is these days, because the rules of engagement have changed in the last 10 years.
Exactly. And like Miele said, the money-making thing, that's a big thing in schools. If I can get 100 people for a year, I'm making money, you know. But say student number 98, what is he benefiting out of one instructor and two instructors out of a class in say like 30 to 40, twice a week, once a week, or anything like that? What's the individual help or system that guy's going to keep him? It's like you're just studying something. You're not getting proficient help or proficient ways to learn how to do it exactly. Just falling in class, you know, we're doing all the movements, everything looks cool. You're going back home, you sweat it up and anything, but did you actually get the fine art behind it and actually learn how to use that? And now you think you're going to get that done in like 3 months or anything. Okay, I've done this move, I can do this kick, I can do this arm. And first of all, it's a rubber gun or a training knife. It's not a real life situation. You're in a nice classroom with soft mats, the instructor's showing you slowly to go through this. So there's no pressure, there's no adrenaline. Okay, they try to train it as hard as they can. And you're getting like 20% of that guy or that instructor's attention for, say, in a class of an hour or an hour and a half. So now in 3 months' time, you can do this one move and, well, you're cool. You can do this one move, cool. It's not going to happen on the street. Just hold on a second. Will you point the gun like this in my face? And then, wait, I forgot this. Can I quickly phone my instructor just to see what's going on? Your everything that you train, as soon as something like that happens, when you're in a situation with high adrenaline, 90%, all of us know that. Like take a car accident for all of us been in one. As soon as it's happened, what happens to you? Everything that you know about driving goes out the back window.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Correct.
Am I right?
100%.
The same thing happens in a high intensity adrenaline where your life's in danger or something happens, you're gonna forget whatever you've trained. That's what I'm pointing on what Nelia said. 6 months to a year. If you can do this for 5 years, it must be a lifestyle. It must be something that you're investing in yourself, exactly like you're doing with health. If you're going to the gym, you're not going to get fit or you're going to get okay, but you're going to get proper fit if you make it your lifestyle. And exactly the same with martial arts. And then, like pointing on what Neelis has said, I'm not saying that there's bad instructors or anything in South Africa. We've actually got really, really, really good people. We've got some proper guys.
Hey, dude, there are some shit instructors.
We've got some shit ones. Neelis was one of them, you know. He had a really bad experience in, I think, 2 or 3 schools, am I wrong, Neelis, that you went through before you went, before I met you. And, you know what the thing is, I had to untrain that from him because it was already set down in stone in him, you know, and he was very aggressive. And I understand that because that's the experience that he had or what he was exposed to. And it took me really long with him because he's a little bit stupid and slow, you know. But I'm kidding. I'm just making a joke.
You're really happy in mine.
I'm just kidding. That's because I'm not really good. And the nice thing that I had with him is I could see how it changed, you know. All the aggressiveness went away, and he actually got the love for it, and he's actually starting to see what it's all about. And that's what you want to do. That's why with us, just to go back to us, Urban Viking, we don't have a school. I'll train 3 to 4 people. Neelis will know this. No more than that in a school. That gives me enough time, enough that I can actually go down and actually see the person. Each one has got their own thing that they're doing, so you can specialize and help them in certain areas to make them as good as you can get them. You know, just give them a lot of attention, and then you can actually pinpoint onto what is doing wrong or do it like this, and it just makes the training a little bit more intensive, and I think the student takes it in much better.
I've had the situation, and look, I'm not a martial artist. Sadly, I'm not. I never walk away from a fight. I'll be honest with you. I never walk away. I run, Brew. I run. But anyway, no.
But why don't you tell us what's the first rule in Krav Maga?
But exactly. My rules. Okay, sorry that before I forget, I have one thing that I will ask a new student. What do you think is the best way to block an attack? Or when they will say, no, it's like, I'll do this or I'll do that. Your best thing is what I'm going to do now. Bye.
Yes.
Disengage.
Yeah, disengage.
Situation. You need to do the confrontation. Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. All of us know like it. Okay, go on.
I think well, I was going to go on something, but I just want to run on to what you're saying now as well. I think that's what a lot of people don't. They want to learn to fight. They want to learn to fight. I want to fight. But the what you're doing is you are saying self-defense. Defense and offense is two different words. It's not self-offense, it's self-defense. It's to be able to defend yourself when you cannot diffuse a situation as practically as what you've tried to, as what you have explained now. But no, and talking about fly-by-nights and things like that, it's very, very difficult. I did karate when I was young, and it actually went really, really well. There was a chap in Kimberley, Gitch Goldswain, and he did Shukukai, and he actually went through step by step with us, and it was really nice. And I actually enjoyed it because I felt managed. And then later on, as an adult, my son was wanting to join kickboxing. So we went to go and join the kickboxing club, which was in a hall, and they had the gloves and the bags and the everything. But never once was I stood there and it was like, okay, you and you pair off and you and you pair off and start smacking each other. And you start and lift your hands and punch for there and move your head. But nowhere was there a discipline in it at all, which is why I do agree. You get these, I know how to fight, or I know how to self-defense, but do I know how to teach is the next one. You get people who are good at doing something, but are they able to part with that knowledge practically, or just, have them running around? That's a big, big difference to me. The last thing that I want to say, and hopefully, and I'm going to leave you to answer this one actually without butting in again, I will do, what's difficult for me? Self-defense classes, and yes, you get scammed on them as well, sadly, especially where it is necessary, and people in the world, never mind in certain countries, in the world are needing it more and more and more these days. Children can go and they can learn, and people are happy to say, well, here's my little beginner's class, here's my little horsey class, and then the next guy, and then the next guy. And ladies are paid special attention for, ladies self-defense. This is a ladies class, ladies self-defense. But let me tell you something, even here in Cambodia, as a big fat man myself, who's like, you know what, the best thing I can do, I think you mentioned it, fitness is probably second to none, because you start doing muscle memory and things to that effect, which then assists you, because as you were saying, when you hit the situation, it's out the window. There's no time for opening up the book. But for a man, what does a elderly or older man, I don't want to say I'm elderly, but what does an older man do? Because now you go there and it's, no, we have kids classes and we have advanced classes and we have ladies classes, but we have nothing for the average man. And I'm talking about in South Africa, everywhere else. South African specifically, because I did look in South Africa, and this is why I can talk South African. And for no other reason, I walked around there and I went, you have karate classes? Yeah, no, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, but I work. Do you have in the evening beginning for adults? No, kids class. Nowhere could the average middle-aged man in South Africa, or even in Cambodia at the moment, decide to take up the sport, which is really, if nothing else, good for you in self-defense, but good for your fitness.
Yeah, that is bad. That is bad. It is all over the world, like you say. That is exactly like here in South Africa. I was one of them as well. Couldn't find a school. I've been to so many, like you said, and it's either kids. Where do you fit in? I'm too old. I can't train with them. Or I work till 6 o'clock at night. No, our class is 10. It's stop at 6:30. So that is a difficult one. And the only way that you can actually, I think, sort that out is you need to find someone. And that's the difficult part of it. Where do you find someone like that? Because you can only Google as much and Instagram as much, or I can find them, but they in a different state, or they in a different. So the solution that people started doing, which I agree in a way with, but which also, I don't know what the right word is, but actually bastardized martial artists, YouTube.
Yes,
if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to do it, and I think I'm going to get it right by looking at it, by doing it in a video. You're gonna end up doing it wrong. That's just my thing. You need instruction from someone that can guide you, because seeing a video and mimicking what I do, you'll learn the technique, but are you really going to learn the technique? Because the video is not talking back and looking at you and saying, hey, listen, adjust your footing, watch out for this, and remember, this could happen, this could happen. Okay, look out for something like this, and that's where instruction comes in. And that's exactly what you say, Andre. It's difficult. It took me Sorry, Niels,
interrupt you there. These are also the small things, the small nuances that makes a difference in having instruction in a class where you are 3 or 4, maybe 5 students, versus the average martial arts gym across the world where you walk in beginners class, pay a shitload of money for that, and you're part of 30 different students doing 10 different techniques in one night. I ask you, in that only space of an hour that you actually get to train with the instructor, where are you going to pick up the small nuances that actually make your martial arts effective? The small things like, hey, dude, look at that, correct your foot, or look at that, correct your technique, or do this or that. These are things that you don't find in smaller gyms too. And Arnold, what you said, that looking cool. This is something
all of us want to look cool.
You've heard this thousands of times over. This looks so cool. It looks so cool. Andre, I've mentioned in one of our previous streams that war is not a pretty thing. It's not a romantic thing. And it's exactly the same thing with martial arts, and especially self-defense. I would maybe say self-defense, look, martial arts can still be a pretty thing to watch, but it's not practical. But the looking cool part thing, I don't know how many street fights you guys have seen. I don't know how many bar fights you guys have seen. I don't know how many robberies you have seen. I don't know how many muggings you've seen. I myself have been mugged a couple of times. And in any situation, whether the perpetrator wins or whether the person gets away with their life, nothing of that is pretty. You're never going to see it in a situation where it happens like that, where someone pulls out the most beautiful move and it looks fantastic and there are cameras and I'm so cool. Real effective martial arts don't look cool because you don't really see it. It just hurts like hell. And that's one of the biggest things where people think differently. Typically, like to talk about, the mindset of martial artists versus actually what your body does and the conditioning you go through, the training you go through. I would say martial arts, and especially stuff like self-defense, when you get into weaponry, when you get into getting to a point where you become proficient in these things and you're able to defend yourself, it's 80% in the head and 20% in the body, maybe even more in the head. The psychology behind your thinking behind it is so much different. And I have never seen a martial arts gym, dojo, school in my life where they teach as much to the mind as they do to the body and skill. And this is something that Urban Viking Warrior stands for too, is that, we believe that martial arts is more in the head, because the head actually, that's your computer, right? This controls everything you do. So this is where you need to start training, man. You can't walk into martial arts or into Urban Viking Warrior and say, yeah, teach me the shit that looks cool. And, you're going to get your ass kicked if you do that, because that's not effective. You might even get yourself killed. So, Arnold, you actually speak about this a lot on the mats, in the gym, on the shooting range, when we're doing Kali sticks, is remember to think, train the mind, remember your training. This is a very, very big thing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And like you said, Andre, sorry, we didn't actually answer you like a nana. To find that someone that's going to train you, no, you got it. You actually did win on it. Like you said, that elderly guy, because, say from your 40s way up,
That's it.
The only way you're going to find something like that is, this is now the not so like a fun part about martial arts, is you're going to have to go to a few schools. You're going to have to find out what works for you. And none of us are stupid. You'll find out that this guy is wasting my time or taking my money. And only in those circles you'll get guided to the right instructor. I'm sure that's how I got it right, and that's how I got into it. But it is a difficult one. There's unfortunately no how can I say it? There's no magic cure for coming to the right school. Unfortunately, there's no quick fix. It takes time. It's like getting the right gym where you're feeling comfortable in, or that's going to work for you. And as soon as, one thing I think Niels will confirm with me on this is, as soon as Niels got to me, I'm not just taking me, it could be any other instructor.
Yeah.
He felt he's at home and he's starting to learn something.
Yeah.
He's got the proper attention that he got. This guy's not teaching him a bunch of bullshit or taking his money or anything like that. You'll feel the connection with your instructor. It's like Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi. Unfortunately, That's what we're looking for. But unfortunately, it got an industry. It became an industry. It's a money-making thing, and it's sad, but unfortunately, it is what it is. But to answer your question on the other one is you'll have to go through the woodwork to find the right guy, and you'll know when you got to the right instructor. You'll see how you bloom like a flower to start. You're getting the right information and you're getting the right training. That's unfortunately how it is.
Basically, finding somebody who actually gives a shit about teaching you and not taking your money.
And I've met a lot of
instructor who speaks to the mind.
There's a lot of schools that I know of. Well, not a lot. There's a few instructors that I know in this country. I've just recently met someone that specializes in training of women. Urban Viking as well have done training for women in South Africa. Unfortunately, there's a lot of gender-based violence on women and kids. And this lady that I met, it's a school, Life Fit. They're in Pretoria as well. And I must say, some of the schools and the training that I've seen, it's specialized, it's small, and you get the attention. It's about the martial arts, and they're there to protect you, trying to save your life. And that's what I respect for people like that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of other guys that's out there that's in the industry. That's how it is. We don't call names or anything like that, but they are there. And unfortunately, people go to it. And the other thing is, like let's take like mixed martial arts. Cage fighting's a big thing, it's a multi-million-dollar industry in USA. Every second guy thinks he's got Conor McGregor. Well done, buddy. Be Conor McGregor on the streets here, you're going to end up in the mall. There's no $100 million payout that's waiting for you at the end of the street. You're going to be in a body bag. Unfortunately, that is how it is. And but there's a lot of MMA schools that's really good, that train the guys and stuff. Like I said, it's just going to be a rigmarole to get to the right guy, get the feel that where you fit in, that's going to be something that you're going to benefit and train from. And that's what we're trying to do is we keep it small, and we're trying to save. I don't care who you are, big, small, fat, skinny, male, female. If you want to get your life saved or get yourself in a position that you actually can defend yourself, that's what we're trying to do. That's the big game that we want to do. That's it.
Fantastic. I'm going to take a step out of the norm at the moment, because what I do want to do is just find out where you come from, what drove you, how your passion is, and that, and then I'm going to take a look at actually what your passions are, what you do, and that, and then we're going to take a look at the future and where you're taking it and what you're going with it. But just to start off with, then, when did you start martial arts? When did your interest spark? Did you start as a kid? Was it in high school? Was it after school? Because as you said, it's a lifestyle. If you don't feed it every day. How did you start? Where did you start? What happened? What drove you to actually becoming as successful as what you have in the martial arts?
The big thing that I started young, mostly in my later high school years. The reason why I started going into that, I was seriously bullied in school. Since primary school through to high school, I was seriously bullied, and I just took it into my own hands. So why I started with that was because of that, not why I do it today still. I went through karate, I did taekwondo, I did a little bit of kickboxing, I was exposed to Muay Thai, all of that, and it was just a boxing ring. It felt like bullying the same. So I get there, and all we're doing is getting thrown into this ring, and we fight each other. This is not what I want to do, I want to learn how to defend myself. I don't want to start the fight. I want to get out of this shit,
Yeah.
And then I met my first real proper instructor that I'm still friends with now. That is like 5 foot high, Italian guy. I can't tell you how I got. It was down through friends that I met this guy, and I never knew that he was a martial artist. He didn't have a school or anything like that. And I started training by this guy, and he opened up the world for me. He did it on the right way for me, and this just gave me the love for martial arts. I started seeing what it's all about, and I had the privilege to train for a few years with him. And then, unfortunately, he had to leave. He went overseas. So I was stuck again, sitting now. What am I going to do now? So I fell back into that, looking for schools or anything like that. And through this same instructor, actually, I got him to introduce me to his instructor that also did not have a school or anything, that I had one-on-one training with him with one of my friends. And that guy took it to the next level. the best guy that I had that could train me. And I was with him.
Wow.
Yeah, he was really, he opened up everything, and he was not focusing on just one style. He gave me a whole wide varieties. He gave me the love and the self-thinking of martial arts to get the lifestyle behind that. And I had a privilege to train with him, I think, for 2 to 3 years. And unfortunately, he also left the country. And from there, I was a little bit out of it. We didn't do anything, kept training by ourselves, me and my friend that used to train by Ralph. And then we met our other instructor. Then I got exposed to Krav Maga. And really, I was fortunate to meet the right guy the first time. And I think that's what I'm going back to the point. Of course, I've met so many people. You start to go into the right lines. You don't fall out of the road anymore. You get exposed to the right people. And I was then with Aikma, also still a friend of mine, older man, that introduced me to Krav Maga. And then also his head instructor is from Israel. They're still a school running now. I must say, one of the top guys that I've met. And that got us into the tactical part of it, shooting. I mean, all our South African guys have shot guns still. I think we're born with guns with us, you know. It's just
you're not South African if you haven't fired a gun.
Yeah, no, you're not South African, you haven't fired a firearm. So he took us into the tactical part of it, and then it bloomed from there. Then I met a lot of guys in the shooting community, sporting shots and stuff like that. We went into more CQC, CQB, tactical shooting, knife defense. So the more hardcore stuff, you know. So it's like when you start getting good at something, you want to see what your limit, you know. So you take it as far as you can. And so unfortunately with the Krav, it gets hardcore, you know. You start shooting like you saw in the videos and stuff. And it's actually fun, you know. It's not to go start war or anything like that. Take it to the next level, because you can see what your body is capable of and see where this martial arts takes you, you know. And that's where, and that's, I think that's my history. I've done a lot of training with guys. I've been in the bush. I've been all over, and yeah, it's fun like that. And now I'm not into that hardcore part anymore, unless someone wants to actually teach to go to that. It's now just to get someone, like you said, self-defense, someone that's helpless, someone that's not a martial artist, the normal person that's afraid for their life, and you know, they don't have access to a firearm, or they don't know how to use a firearm. They don't know tactical awareness. They're scared. They see what's going on in the news. You know, they've either been bullied or they've either been hijacked, or, you know, I spoke to a friend of mine the other night. You know, I don't know one friend in my group that's not been in a situation. Not one. Not a single person. And neither does Neelius. Am I right, Neelius? Unfortunately, that's a dynamic in South Africa, and so you left by yourself. It's in your own hands. No government, no police, no one's going to come to your rescue. No one. I don't care who you phone. No, you need to get your own back, and that's where I started doing this. I'd like to help someone that can't help themselves to be able to help themselves, even if they can just get themselves out of the situation and avoid it 100%. Then our job is done. Then we've done what we needed to do.
Wow.
It's very important to draw the distinction as well between combat sports and actually self-defense. It's a lot of people often misconstrue one for the other. You know, a lot of people confuse the two with it's yes, there are similarities in the techniques we use. Yes, there are similarities in you know, the engagement, if I can call it that. However, it's completely different. Once again, it boils down to your thinking. It boils down to your preparedness. To give you an idea, I've been mugged and robbed a couple of times. Luckily, since I've known self-defense, I was able to escape with my life. Not necessarily always, you know, my cash or my phone or my whatever the case might be. You give those things away. It's your life's 10 times more important. But one thing Arnold always says in the gym, you know, from start to beginning, remember, if you get into a real world situation where you took your girlfriend to the movies, or if you're a female, you and your girlfriends went to Doppio's, coffee or cocktails or whatever the case might be at 7, 8, 9 at night, you need to actually walk out there to your car in a dark parking lot. That's where it strikes. Now, this is what people don't completely understand, is that I've heard so many people say, oh, yes, I do Muay Thai. Oh, yes, I do this martial arts or that martial arts or this sport or that sport. At the end of the day, in these combat sports, you get the opportunity to warm up. You get the opportunity to get your mindset right. You get the opportunity to put your hand wraps on, to listen to some music, get up, put your gloves on. The moment you actually step on the mat or you step in the ring, you're completely ready. Your mind's there, you're warmed up, and you're ready to go. This is not the case when it comes to self-defense. You need to be able to train your mind. Once again, it boils down to the mind again, to be ready to train so effectively that when that situation hits where you get that fight or flight response, that you immediately can make a decision, that you don't just freeze up. Because I think any South African who has been through a robbery, a mugging, a hijacking, knows that feeling of immediately freezing up and going completely cold and not knowing what to do, what to say, where to look. These are the things that we train to. So, we're not going to take fantastic martial artists and make them better and get them endorsement deals and put them in the ring and go fight with a Venom label or with any whatever martial arts label brand you want to put there. That's not the intention. That's not what Urban Viking tries to do. We actually try to get the person on the street, the layman, the person who isn't the biggest, strongest, fastest, fittest person in the world, to actually be able to save their own life by the way they think and making a decision in a split second. That's what makes all the difference. And I think this is what a lot of instructors, schools, as well as martial artists don't always understand. And I know I'm going to probably get a lot of hate for saying that, but at the end of the day, that's what the situation in the street is, isn't it, Arnold?
Yeah, it is unfortunately so, and like Niels now says, now let's take a scenario. Take me, for instance. I've got all this experience. I know how to work a firearm. I can do calisthenics. I know knives pretty good. So I'm not the average run of the mill. Does that make me invincible? Not at all. I can get caught off guard exactly like you, Andre, or any person. I don't care how good you are or how good you've trained, None of us, we're human at the end of the day, You're never always alert or always in this, something might happen or this, Anybody can get caught off guard. Anybody can still get, in the situation that, doesn't matter how good you've trained it or anything like that, you can still fail. You can still not succeed with it, But it's still better knowing more than someone that knows nothing. That's the point that I'm trying to get across, And that's what I'm trying to. And the other thing is, when it's going to happen into the streets, it's not going to be just one attack. It's going to be multiple attackers. If someone's going to rob you or anything, I mean, look at the statistics in South Africa. There's not one single one that is like, listen, give me your money, one guy, and it's done. It's going to be either you're going to get caught off guard. It's going to be more than one attacker. So the odds are against you. The odds are unfortunately against you, So it doesn't matter who you are or how well you train, you can still be caught, But the thing is just to get that alertness, do the training. It's going to give you more ammunition to yourself and more alertness to get yourself out of the situation or to be able to deal with it successfully than someone that's just, I don't know anything, and then what you're going to do now? You're caught in it, That's the big thing.
I think a lot of it has to do with confidence. If you're not capable, you're not confident. Yeah, and it's enabling someone to be capable of something, and you need people like yourself to be able to do that. I was just listening now to how you were saying you were going through the different trainers or coaches or mentors that you had. You spoke of them so fondly that it's more of a mentor that you almost responded to me with. And that gave you somebody that actually gives a damn, which is nice because it seems to have created the passion in you, but it has also given you the passion to mentor, as what I can see, because you're always looking at, I need to instill this in people. I need to look after this in people. People need to be aware of this, which is so good. And sadly, I will call it, and you know what, Pepper Zeko is going to get flat. So whatever we say, it's quite okay. We are quite capable of batting away the thing. So it doesn't matter what you say. You know what, there are sharks who scam out there. There are people who don't care. It was a nice business to make money, and this is what I'm reading it in. And then, you know what, unfortunately, people like yourself are pretty scarce to find who actually care, who actually give a shit. And you can hear it in the way you speak and in your enthusiasm about it. And I wish we could have hours to tap ahead on with this, because I'm only scratching at the surface of the door here. I still want to know everything, because you got through all of these guys, and then you sort of got to a place where you said, you can now carry on, but you were not, you're not carrying on to go looking for a fight. You're going on to test your own limits, to push your own limits, to push your own boundaries. It is personal success and achievement that I believe you're still going on. But you mentioned something, Krav Maga. Now, until Elias mentioned it a while ago to me as well, I wasn't too sure about it. What the hang is this? You know what? It's crabs that they pull out a cap or what? No, it's not. Okay. No, die goed is met stokken, sticks. Okay, so you move the crabs with a stick. No. Okay. And then he kind of went to explain. So for those of you guys who are watching, if you saw the opening, and if you haven't and you're just joining or you're just watching this in a replay, go and take a look at that opening, and then you'll see Krav Maga is what you were busy with that stick there.
That was Kali sticks. No, that wasn't Krav Maga. That's Kali sticks.
Is that Kali sticks? Okay, you see, you see how I dropped myself in this shit over here.
No,
sorry. Krav Maga, what is it? Because why I'm asking you is because you mentioned it. It was almost like a specialization or a specific interest that you had in it that you actually went on. What is Krav Maga then?
Okay, how I got to Krav Maga is, like I said, through all those other styles and stuff. It was very cool, but I couldn't see in all of them something that's going to work on the street for me.
Like, is it a weaponry or is it a fighting style?
It's not a fighting style. It's actually it comes from a military, Israeli military. Okay. That's where it started from, and it's not a fighting style. I would say they do teach you how to fight, but it's a defense. So you're going to be exposed to weapons. You're going to be exposed to knives. You're going to be exposed to handguns, whatever weapon there is, and you're going to learn how to defend against it, and also how to fight. So you're going to learn, and it's very the word simple is not the right word. It's effective. But simple. Yeah. It's not like where you're gonna, let's take karate for instance. You're gonna do a kata where they're gonna grade you on how good did you do this kata. So they don't have that. There's not actually a grading system in Krav Maga where you're gonna be getting a white belt or a green belt or all the way up to a black belt. They do grade you in a way just to see your progress, but there's not a grading system where you're gonna be like, okay, you this far, you're now this good, you know. They're gonna train you from day one to where you can go to be effective as soon as possible and as simple as possible. If I take you now and I take you for one night and I teach you this cool moves and this kata system, and if I ask you tomorrow night 10 o'clock, hey, okay, show me this, you already forgot it. So it needs to be something simple that goes sit in your muscle memory, that if you have to react, it's going to happen. You're going to pull it off. So Krav Maga is very, very effective. It was for me very effective. If I have to take it to and apply it onto what's happening in the street, you know, that was for me one of the best style that I can say that, and it works. I mean, you can just look at all the Krav guys that's out there and stuff. It's really an effective style, you know, and it exposes you to a lot of weapons, which is going to happen in the street, you know. Where if you take something like karate, you'll only do sword after a few years. You can't put a sword in a white guy, a white belt's hand.
Careful, you're in South Africa.
It's going to chop your head off or something. I forgot this other thing that I have in the school. The others will laugh if I say this. The most dangerous person in a self-defense school is the guy that only walked in there, because he knows nothing. He's got no control. He doesn't know how to punch it. He hurts you because he hasn't trained it. You know, that's just a joke. So the Krav Maga,
Well, first of all, just a funny thing that it happened actually twice. That white belt knocked me the fuck out.
Yeah, me as well.
And guess what? One of those white belts was during a female self-defense seminar we did, where obviously not going to name names, but one of the ladies, she was a little bit older than you are, Andre. quite a little bit larger than you are too, and very prominent, beautiful woman and everything. And she was interested in learning how to defend herself, and she didn't have any confidence whatsoever walking into that seminar. Didn't really want to participate, very skeptical. It's the older lady who is super prim and proper and everything. By the end of that session, Arnold told me, "Listen, you're going to train that lady over there. You're going to work with her." I said, "Perfect, fantastic. I'll work with her." I show her one technique, which was simple actually, and the next moment, apparently, a bang went off that. that was close to shattering windows, and the next moment, Nelius is out cold on the floor. So I actually this lady, "Hey, listen, this is not going to be effective on the street. What you're doing right now, give me intensity, and boom, white belt, knock me out." On the one hand, I couldn't hear out of one ear for 2 days, but this does go to show how effective these things are. And if you take a look at Krav Maga and actually break it down, the person who came up with this comes from the Israeli Defense Force, Imi Lichtenfeld. After World War II, he basically saw what the Jews went through during World War II and said, "Listen, if we're outnumbered and we're outgunned, we're outweaponed, how are my people going to defend themselves?" And it's basically taking a look at all of the martial arts systems in the world and taking the best and most effective moves of them and creating a fighting system, a defense system, to be able to defend yourself, defend the soldier next to you. Well, in this case, it would be your friend or family or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever the case. I hope not boyfriend, but it's basically a combination of all of the most effective tools that most martial arts have. Put together, and even Krav Maga has been evolving since it started, even though it's not old martial arts either. So it's a combination of most effective things.
Yes, and that's like Nelius says, and I'm not saying that you should train Krav Maga or go to Urban Viking or to whatever you can learn. All martial arts, I've seen with the amount of stuff that I do, they all intertwine. I've seen that, and that you'll see after years you do that. You can see how they link into each other. So I'm not saying the one is better than the other one. Just start doing something to get that lifestyle or get yourself into that mindset. I don't care if it's judo or boxing or even Tai Bo in the gym. Whatever can get your mind to get you exposed to something like that. And the other thing, just don't do just one. There's no rule that says, "Hey, listen, I must only do Krav Maga, or I must only do karate or anything like that." Expose yourself to all of them. See what works for you. Maybe you're a taekwondo guy, or maybe you're more leaning towards Muay Thai or something, or BJJ groundwork or anything like that. That's more working for you as an individual. And the thing is, that's what instructors as well do. No, you need to do this because this is the best style in the world and it's going to work. You can't say that. What gives you the right to say that you're the best in the world? No one's the best in the world. There's always someone better than you. So expose yourself to as many martial arts or something like in a self-defense environment, and that just makes your little glass that is you full and not empty. It's more information, and take what works for you and apply it into yourself. And that's what I've done, and it's been working for me.
Yes. No, absolutely amazing. Yeah. You also, on top of that all, on your martial arts and that, you've actually encompassed the whole family of self-defense by actually, as we saw in the beginning video, you do actual tactical arms self-defense. I don't know, training. I'm assuming you do training, but I know you actually do it because I saw you guys in the video. You've actually expanded across there as well. What does that entail? Is that a totally different ball game? Do you actually put them together and say, this is as important, the right and the left hand is important to be able to work together?
Yes, that's right.
Let's talk guns.
Let's talk guns.
Yeah. So
even my cats have got guns. Look at that.
So
there's nothing as cool as kitties and 50s.
So that's what I want to start getting interested in, because we've got this defense, we've got self-defense, we've got physical self-defense and everything like that.
Yes.
And you've got a right hand, but a left hand is also very good in having it, especially in a world gone mad. And I'm not only talking about a certain country. I mean, it's needed all over the place at the moment. In any place. I mean, there's human trafficking. There are riots that are breaking out more violently all over the world now than ever before, and a lot of protests and things to that effect, where weapons do sadly become a part of the scenario. And where you would sadly, and look, you know what, one of the places, unfortunately, and it is a fact and it's the truth, is with farm murders in South Africa, you would need people on farms, men, women, and children, needing to know more about this. And it's just a necessity in a situation like that.
Exactly.
Where do you go? What do you do? What is important about it? Which arms do we use? The left and the right arm, or do we actually use a weapon?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's exactly that. When it gets to the firearms and that,
the Glock argument.
The thing is, with the shooting, it was more sport shooting for me. Like I said, I started pushing to different levels, and the Krav Maga opened that for me. I've been I grew up with firearms and stuff like that. So you either been hunting or you've been shooting or anything like that. So I got into a little bit of sport shooting in that, and got into the tactical shooting of that. It was actually my Krav Maga instructor that got me into that. And we started doing firearms, carbines, long weapons, sniping, all of that. Exactly the same like you're doing in a martial arts. It's just a different side. It's weapons now. So it's either from a handgun all the way to a sniper rifle. So you're going to push yourself to see what happens there. But to answer your thing there on the farm murders and stuff, and that, or anything like that, is you're going to have to arm yourself. Because that's the fight now. You're not in a hand-to-hand fight anymore. It's a more like a war scenario. They're coming for you, buddy. And they're not going to come and fight with you in a Krav Maga or in a boxing. They're coming armed, and you're going to be more. And how are you going to defend yourself against something like that? You're going to need to arm yourself as well. Know how your firearm works. Getting into the firearm thing. Now we can talk. You know.
That sounds good to me. Sounds good.
Me myself, I carry my firearm 24/7. That's just it's like it's not even my cell phone. I have it with me. You have it with you. I've got a knife with me always. I've got my firearm with me, and I've got my torch with me always. It's just something. It's my everyday carry that I've got so used to that it's my glasses. It's exactly the same. It's not to be the thing with the firearm thing that I think people feel. As soon as I get a firearm, you feel more safe. A lot of people do that when they get their firearm. They get that instant. I feel safe because I've got a firearm with me now. Nobody, you're not safe yet. The fact that you're carrying a firearm didn't take you out of the woodworks. You're just in the fight now. That's why they call it a gun fight. You're going to fight with a gun. That's what's going to happen. So the best thing that I would say for the self-defense thing is a firearm. I mean, it's the most concealable, small, high-impact caliber that you can carry with yourself. You're not going to walk around with your 50 cal barrel. It would be nice. So you need something exactly like the Krav Maga. If I say for self-defense and something, you need something that's reliable, something that's accurate, something that's concealable, easy to carry, and something that you can trust in that's not going to let you down. I mean, the hardest sound, I've told Neelius when we've done shooting, the hardest sound that you're ever going to hear on a shooting range is not the explosion of the gun. It's this click, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So that you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that in anything like that, where people are shooting at you, or you need to use your firearm now. So you need something concealable, small, I would say. But that's a big discussion. We can go into that. What type of gun for girls, anything like that is. It's just something that will give you a chance to protect yourself. And in South Africa, especially if you're a male, a female, you need to be armed. You need to be armed, unfortunately, because no one's going to come for your rescue. That's it. It's going to be you.
Oh, a very important also is not only to be armed. I think it's almost more important that if you are armed, how to use that firearm.
Yes.
Because I know of most of my friends back in South Africa I know are armed. Most of my family members are armed. They carry. However, I've met so many people that yes, I carry too. I have a Glock, or I have a CZ, or I have a Desert Eagle, or I have a Beretta, or whatever the case might be. But the moment you ask a person, listen, do you actually know how to use that weapon? It's like, yeah, you put it out, you shoot. It's like,
yep,
you're going to get yourself killed. Okay. It's all good and well. It's all good and well to arm yourself and to have a gun, but it's also super, super, super important to actually know how to use that weapon in your hands, because it is a super unpopular opinion, and unfortunately, it is the truth that a weapon, especially a firearm, in your hands can be more of a liability to your life than it could be an asset if you do not know how to use it effectively. We've unfortunately seen this in many cases in farm murders, in many cases in normal points of engagement when it comes to robbery and everything, where firearms are used, but the person who needed to defend themselves wasn't effective enough and didn't exactly know how to use that firearm. So that's a super you get to a shooting range, go fire off rounds, get somebody who knows how to use a firearm. I'm sure you saw in the intro video, we've spent hours and hours and hours and hours on shooting ranges. You know, it's not something that you can go do once and you know it forever. If you have a weapon, know how to use it. Get to a range, go fire it. Learn how to use it. Learn how to be comfortable with a weapon in your hands. So that that unfortunately you're going to need to use it, that you can react like that because you're used to using it and you're comfortable using it.
Yeah, and the other point that people forget about this is all cool if you can train and you know your firearm very well and stuff, but what does firearms do? You're going to kill somebody. You're going to take someone's life. So even if you're under a thing that people don't, that I like to tell, I've even spoke to Niels a few times about this. That when you're going to pull your firearm, you're going to do damage now, or probably take someone's life now. I know it's to protect yourself. That's not something that I think any one of us three want to do, you know, or anybody that I think that's listening in here would want to do, unless you're a psychopath or you're a freaking serial killer or anything like that. But the normal human being doesn't want to kill someone else. I mean, that's not why we're training. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to take someone's life, even if it's an attacker. But unfortunately, I'm in this situation. It's going to be me or you. So people need to understand that when you're going to go into this, you're going to shoot to kill. You're gonna take a life, you know, and that's something that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. I mean, you've been maybe in an attack or anything, but that's what's going to happen, you know. That's the catch-22 to carrying a firearm. Yes, I'm feeling very confident and safe now, but the dark side to this is what could happen. This is potentially what could happen, you know, which I think a lot of people don't understand when they're going into this nice safari and outdoor, coming to buy the world's arms, you know. It's especially for a self-defense thing, and that's something that's scary. It's a scary thought, you know, but unfortunately it is reality. That's the thing with it.
Even more scary than that, Arnold, is I think it's exactly the same case with knives as well.
Ooh, yeah. No,
maybe even worse. Maybe even worse. To give you an idea, Andre, I am more scared of someone pulling a knife on me than I am someone pulling a gun on me.
A knife is a dirty thing. It's something that I don't need a license for. Just to give you a concept of a knife fight, there's two choices. You're either going to get zipped up or you're going to get stitched up.
Yeah.
So, and a knife is something that I can get out of my kitchen. I can go buy a tactical knife or anything like that. It's something that's going to keep on coming towards you. It's always loaded and it doesn't stop coming. You know, firearm you can have a dud round, your firearm malfunctions or anything like that, or
you run out of ammo.
You run out of ammo or anything like that. A knife keeps on coming, and it's something that's easy to come by. It's something that I can go get now. You know, it's not a process where I need to do a competency to get my firearm. I need to train or anything like that on it.
I was about to say, it's as you're saying, I didn't think of it that way, but it truly is. It's something that the most responsible person doesn't even think about requiring competency on. I mean, I think most responsible people would agree with you that having a firearm is one thing, and it can make you feel safe and confident, but it's not going to exactly protect you if you are not competent in being able to use that firearm. But even the most responsible person does not. I mean, even myself. I mean, we've bought butterfly knives. I used to walk around with just like a little knife on my belt at work, and that because it helped to open boxes and things like that. It wasn't really for self-defense, but should something like that occur, or anything to that effect, you're not thinking of competency on those knives or anything to that effect. Or self-defense against it. You're looking at self-defense against somebody with a firearm, and these days it's knives more than anything else, because it's a close combat. It's a close combat weapon that you know, it's not like a gun where you can still try and dodge or jump behind, because the person's on top of you.
And the other thing is, if I pull a knife on you, it's not so barbaric like I'm pulling a firearm on you. You know, if I do that in South Africa, I pull a firearm on you, I'm going to get into trouble now, because as soon as that thing's out of my holster, I'm into the aspect of the law of that. You're going to get into some deep shit. It's easy to pull out a knife onto someone, and it gives me already an instant force of power. Hey, give me your wallet, give me your car, I'm going to stab you. You know, it's exactly the same if I'm going to pull a fire on you. Then a knife has got exactly the same power over you. You know, that's the thing. But with a firearm, I need to, you know, there's a lot of other stuff coming into play where a knife is easier. It's an everyday tool that people don't think, but it's going to give that attacker the same confidence and power over you because he's got something that you don't have, you know.
Would you say that the attacker with a knife doesn't comprehend the power that he has in his hands as what someone with a gun does? Because someone with a gun still thinks that he is possibly going to kill you and needs to be careful. Somebody with a knife thinks he possibly may hurt you, but doesn't realize the lethalness of the weapon that he's got in his hands.
100%. 100%. That's exactly the thing. They think that because it's a firearm, it's more deadly. You can't say that. Well, I'm putting that point. You can't say that. Because that kind, you can either misfire, or you can totally miss me. I mean, if you've been on a shooting range, I'm not going to go into that now, but with a knife, exactly like you say, he feels like, I'm only going to cut her or him, and I'm going to get away with it. Maybe he just stumbles over you, and he strikes you in an artery or anything like that. You're dead. You're going to die now. So the exact same thing just happened now with a knife that could have happened with a firearm. And it's exactly like you say. The thing that he thinks is, I'm not going to get in such big trouble if I do it with a knife as I do with a gun. You can't say that. I mean, something can go wrong so quickly. You know, it can escalate into something that's totally out of your control, and it can be something as stupid as a knife or a car key or anything like that. I mean, humans are quite tough, but as just as tough as we are, we're just as brittle too. You know, and that's exactly. I agree. I totally agree with you. A knife is something that they underestimate, and it's a thing that can do horrible damage. Horrible damage.
Yeah. All humans have their weak spots, but funnily enough, we don't think about it, because what I'm talking to you about now and what I'm saying isn't because it's something that I think of every day. I must be honest. It's because of what you are saying and what you're telling me right now that is suddenly making me go, hang on, you know what he's saying? Doesn't that mean that? It's not what we think about. We just don't think about it as human beings. You don't, because even myself, I don't think about that at all. Why I'm asking those questions and stating what I'm stating now is just out of this conversation and what you've brought up, not from what I sit walking around every day and I feel I'm responsible, but yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's our humans. We're oblivious to stuff, you know, because we don't. How can I say it? We're not in that situations every day, you know, and that's why it's not something that we think about or it's more, you know, what do you use a knife for 90%, you know, cooking or anything like that, or like you said, opening up a box or anything. You never think that, hey, I might do actual serious damage with this to another person, or someone can do that damage towards me with something as stupid as a little piece of steel, you know. It doesn't need to be a scary firearm or carbine or a military weapon that can kill me. There's a lot of stuff that's stupid household utilities that you can get hurt with exactly the same or die even, you know. Yeah.
With guns and that now, we've said, and I would like to ask you before we move on a little bit with guns, and I know it's something that you said is a massive monster of a discussion by its own. Somebody who actually maybe watches this program, watches another program, speaks to someone or whatever, and says, you know what, it's a good idea to arm myself. I think it's a good idea. I need to have a gun on myself. I mean, for myself, when I was in South Africa, never had anything huge. I had a 6.35 millimeter baby Browning on me. And that's what we shot with, and that was fine. You know what? I wasn't an activist. I wasn't a enthusiast or extremist or anything passionate about it. It was just around there. But what would you say? I mean, it would not be, I'm just thinking from my side, it would not be very good for a starter off to go, okay, I think I need to protect myself now. I'm going to go for a Colt 4.5 or a 357 Magnum. Well, let's not go for the 7. We'll go for the 5-inch just because I'm a starter at the moment. Would you say just a normal 9 millimeter or a 38 special? Many people find the 38, but then it's a ladies' gun, and then there's the revolver pistol, and then there's a .22 or not .22.
Yes.
What is just your most practical, cost-effective? You must go for a competency naturally, and you must go and get your license legally and get your competency done, and preferably keep up to date with what you're doing. Go and shoot it once in a while. Go for a lesson every now and again. You know, even if you know everything, you always take maybe that much out of it again, learn something new, and just remember a few things. But what would you just, in a nutshell, say, you know what, here's a good thing. Take a revolver or take a pistol. Here's the calibers that you can look at and most cost effective.
Cool. Me personally, I'm a Glock fan. I like my Tupperware, you know. They work, but there's no gun. We get into the discussion with CZ and Glock. There's a lot of guys that's going to get.
We'll take the heat, don't worry.
I've got CZ's beautiful weapons. You can't say the one's better like the other one. So for me, I'd say something small. If it's a male, our guys, we like pistols. We are pistol guys, you know. If you're a revolver guy, it's an easy, usable weapon. It's got a little bit smaller bullet count, but it's powerful. It's mostly for girls or women. They tend to like it because it's easy to handle. You don't have the magazine, you don't have the slide, you don't have all the mechanics which they're not comfortable with. You know, it's only the trigger and the hammer that you've got on that.
And the
revolver, you know. So a 38 snub nose or anything like that for a woman is sufficient, 100%. You know, guys, they tend to like the pistols. 90% of we all know it's a 9mm. It's a proper fast round. Will stop your attacker. It's got a high. If you've got something like a Glock 19, you've got 17 bullets, 15, I think, 15 or 17 that you can pull in a single magazine. It's small, concealable, light to carry. That's what the guys would like, you know. So I would say for a guy, something like a Glock 19 or even something smaller like a 27 or 26, you know, if you want to go subcompact, I'd like compact, or you're going to go standard. I myself carry a 22, which is a 40 caliber. It's a bridge between a 45 and a 9mm. So it's got the speed, but the stopping power as well, you know. But that's us boys, you know. But I would say
with rifle capability.
Yes, yeah. You don't need to have something with a high caliber or anything like that. I would say the smaller calibers is good. Me personally, something that's light to carry. It's got a intermediate bullet count that I can carry or anything like that. Reliable, which is my most important for me. It needs to be reliable and simple. I don't want something with a twin action and a safety, and I need to pull this, and I've got to have a torch in the front with a laser sight and another. No, something simple that works. Simple. When I'm under pressure, I can use it. And the one thing that's also important to me, something that I'm confident with, that I'm accurate with it. Because you need to declare your target and what's going to be behind that. I mean, if I'm going to miss or something, just to put you in a scenario, I'm getting hijacked or anything, and I'm in the city or something. I'm pulling my fire and I'm shooting towards this guy, and I miss and I hit a kid that's 12 years old, a meter away. I just killed the kid, you know. You don't want to do something like that, you know. So for me, I would say something small. The caliber 9mm would be sufficient. I would say something like a Glock 19 or a PO7, CZ, or something like that. You know, you don't need to have anything big, and there's nothing wrong with revolvers. The name of the gun's not the big thing. That's where everybody gets into the discussion. It needs to be a CZ. It needs to be a Glock. No, it needs to be a Taurus. No, it needs to be a 6 Sauer. It's got nothing to do with it.
That's why I say you're speaking to someone young now that I have nothing. You know what you could say to me? Yeah, take a Superstar 9mm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to put you into too much detail. I just wanted to say, if I had to look at it nicely from what you've just said, a nice fitting gentleman's handgun would be a 9mm, and a lady would work well with the 38 snub, and a gentleman, if you wanted to take a revolver, the 38 would work fine as well for you.
100%. You can go to a 357 or whatever is comfortable for you. At the end of the day, use the one that's carry that.
And you're starting to take out the big things. I'm talking about practical for somebody starting off. I think 357 is a bit big. I know a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a monster. Yeah, and you need to carry that monster with you every day. When you put it on.
Why are there sparks coming out behind you? No, it's my gun.
I would say me, a Glock. Now I'm talking Glock. I mean, look at law enforcement. Look at military. What do they all carry? Glocks.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you need to take into what you're going to pay for this. You can get a 6 Sauer.
Economically practical.
Yeah, it's going to cost you a lot of money if you buy something for the name or anything like that. But now to get into the name, you need to buy, like I said, a Glock or seize it or anything like that that's reliable, that's got a history behind it. Law enforcement has carried that. They've used that in military. This weapon has proven itself under pressure, so you've got something reliable. That's what I would say. Small caliber, not a smaller concealed weapon, which is easy to carry. Not too small caliber, but not this monster. You don't need to carry a 50 cal Desert Eagle. You're not right with that.
A very good question to ask yourself generally when choosing firearms, or generally in the firearm discussion, is when guys start doing the measuring competition of whose gun is best and better and this and that. That's all good and well, but ask yourself, doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, I don't care. Would you be able to hit a vital shot within 15 meters if I wake you up 3 o'clock in the morning and you don't really know what's going on around you? Would you be able to wake up, take that gun, know how to use it, hit a vital shot, and be confident that if you pull that trigger, your gun's going to fire?
Can I push one further for you? I don't think it's would you be able to hit it then. I think under pressure, would you be able to retrieve and use it competently to do that vital shot?
Exactly. That is exactly that is 100% accurate, Andre. That's the thing. Are you going to be comfortable and competent? Are you going to freeze under pressure with, I don't know, picking up this thing? Oh, how does it work again? What do I need to do? Did I remember the safety? Oh shit! And then you shoot yourself in the knee or in the foot, or like
you have no idea how to get it out of your holster. You've probably shot yourself in the foot, hooked it, pulled your pants down, let rip your belt, and everything to that effect.
Exactly. And then that nice Heckler and Koch or Smith & Wesson that you had there means nothing. It's something that you're comfortable and, like you said, confident, and if you can be competent with it. That's the point. That's it.
Then we go to competencies. Okay, competency is nice. Know your gun, know how to clean it, stand from a certain distance, and shoot at a target. Wonderful. But I was taking a look at your just a little bit of a combat run and things like that.
Yeah.
Isn't that a little bit more? I don't want to say more important, but isn't that important as well? Being able to clean it, fire it, and holster it is a good thing. But I think that's where we believe now we're competent. And I think, as you said, the person who walks in and thinks they know something is more dangerous than those who know nothing almost, or know everything. To actually go on a combat course like you did, which actually gets you to think, stop and look at what I'm doing, where am I doing it, think quick, take a look at what my surrounding is, what my background is. Doing that kind of training is pretty important as well. It's not just a sport.
Very, very, very important. You've nailed you've hit the hammer on the nail there. That's exactly what combat shooting is about. Like you said, you can be confident and competent with your firearm. You got it. The police gave it to you. That doesn't mean you're competent. And that's not a real life situation. That's why we do combat shooting. That's what's going to happen in a combat situation. Is you're going to use your firearm. You're going to cycle your firearm. You're going to get under pressure. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get a dud round running through. there's so many stuff that comes to play, and you're going to get more confident with your gun and more reliable on yourself and more confident. You know that I'm not going to screw up here. I'm not going to make a mistake or anything like that. That's why combat shooting is very, very important for someone that's going to, I would say, you have to do it. And in South Africa, we've got really, 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 really good guys. And your competency just to get your firearm, that's the easy part. That's the easy part. You've got it now. It's like you got your car. The first time that you drove your car, you got your license. To get your license wasn't that big. The first time that you went onto the highway and driving this car in real life situations, that's when the stress is happening. That's what your car is made for. Now I can drive it. But do I know what to do with this car when I'm coming into an accident or the road's wet or I'm getting a flat tire while I'm on a high speed around a corner, you know? Exactly the same with a firearm. And we train that in a car, so why aren't we training that in a firearm? Which is more dangerous, I think, than a car. Okay, cars, no, let's not get into that one. But anyway, that's the thing with the firearm. So that's why we do the combat shooting and put you in a situation with as close as real life, which is going to happen, you know. I mean, we've all been to the shooting range. We've got our ears on and we're standing there and range is safe. Okay, let's go. Okay, shoot. 1, 2. You know, we've done all of that. It's nice. And, oh, man, look at me, man. I just knocked it right in the ball. I'm the best guy ever. You know, as soon as I hit a shot here next to you and I say, do it now. It changes the dynamic. So exactly like I said with the training with the martial arts, exactly the same with the guns. Push yourself, get better into that, go harder into that. Do the combat shooting. It's going to make you more confident, more competent. It's going to, and as well, going to make you feel more safe at the end of the day, because you know now that, listen, I'm really competent with this firearm. If I'm going to get into the situation, I'm going to know what to do. It's not I just got my firearm and I'm shooting on the range and I'm cleaning it and I'm carrying it. You need to do that training. And like you say, you need to stay with it. You can't just go to Urban Viking and we go take a combat course with you and now I know it. No, you need to keep up with that each year going. It's a lifestyle. You need to get better with it. Keep up to date. I mean, there's stuff that I've done that I've already started getting rusty with, and that because I'm, you know, we're all human at the end of the day. You don't keep on training with it. You start, man, only this is lacquer, you know. I don't want to do that anymore because groundwork's not so lack of fun or anything. You need to do the stuff that's not so lacquer for you, and you need to keep up with it because that's going to make you confident. That's going to make you save your life at the end of the day.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Same with a firearm. I would actually say more with a firearm. You need to put more merit on that than your martial arts because you're now busy with a really dangerous weapon. Same with a knife. Even same with the Kali stick. I mean, this is a stupid thing. It's only a stick. But if this is used right, I'm going to hurt you. Jy gaan bloei, jy gaan kak. Jy weet so, the same with a knife. If I pull a knife out on you, it's a simple, stupid thing. Boom, fight's finished. You're on your floor, you know. Knife, gun, same with this glass. If I break this, what's the difference between that and a knife? It's a weapon.
Yeah.
It's something that can come to me. So train whatever you can. But I will say on the firearms, that's something that you need to. So I'll put more merit on that because a firearm it's a dangerous thing. You know, stuff can go south quick. And
it's a big responsibility you carry with you. Remember, it's not a weapon you carry with you; it's a responsibility you carry with you. And it's not only the responsibility of the firearm that you carry with you; it's the responsibility of not only your own life; it's a responsibility of absolutely everybody around you within. Well, if you're in a built-up area, say a 50-meter radius of you, you're responsible for everybody's lives around you the moment you actually pull out your firearm. So it's very, very important to stay competent. Both Arnold and myself were incredibly passionate about staying competent with your weapon. I can't handle people actually, I got the new Desert Eagle, but I can't even shoot around a corner with the thing, you know.
Yeah.
Once again, look, we can carry on talking about that for hours and hours and hours. But one important point that I would like to bring up, especially in lieu of what's happening in South Africa right now, is Arnold, I would like you to tell us more a little bit about what Urban Viking is doing with the new partnership or potential partnership and the female self-defense and child self-defense campaign you're planning on running. Now, I'd like you to tell us a little bit more about that.
do you do training?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's what I wanted to find out as well. So now we can carry on. I was just making sure because I got the passion part from you and the competency part and everything.
Yes.
So Urban Viking is not sporting. It is actually a training name.
Yes,
What is Urban Viking? Is it training, teaching, competency, self-defense?
I started out by having a few students, only more on the hand-to-hand stuff. We don't focus on the firearms that much. There's so many guys that do that, you know. That's more passion of us, but we have done that, me and Elias, and we've had some guys do it with us. But it's more on the hand-to-hand combat, self-defense, and we focused it a lot on females because they get targeted here in South Africa, you know, with the gender violence and stuff, you know, kids and that. So we've tried to help those, you know, as well as girls and stuff.
You can take answer Nelis's question on that one then. Yeah, I don't want to take your question away. I just wanted to confirm it isn't.
I do. What I've done is it's live fit. You can get all the contact details after the thing's through. They can find me on Instagram. I've given it through to you guys.
You have it there. There we go. You can. There's the email and the Instagram.
There, or you can send me an email and I'll give you all the information. So this is for ladies and children, because we get that children get stolen and you know they steal them, and the female violence, you know, the gender violence, the raping and stuff of our women in South Africa, you know. So we need to start training them, you know. And Madre from Life Fit she's got a really good, and it's a lady, you know. It's difficult for a girl to come and train by me because it's a male, you know. They don't feel comfortable with someone.
Yes,
with
I'm with you.
I'm 6'1" and I'm gonna punch you and show you stuff here. It's that you scare them off, you know. They need to have someone that's their stature, and Madre will teach them, and I'm partnering with her to show them a little bit more tactical stuff that's a little bit more hardcore, but the basic training they will get from her, and I'll give them all the details through for anyone that wants to find out about that. Me, myself, I don't have a school. I had one. We closed it down exactly because we don't want to do it for the money. Well, we're not chasing that. I'm there to help individuals, like I did with Nelius, and I've had a few students of mine, so that it's specialized for that certain person. And I don't even charge them money for that. I don't want to. So anybody now for this month that's coming, or the month, that can contact me. If you want to learn something, I will train it to you. And I'm not going to ask you a cent for it.
There you go, guys. There's the contact.
That's what I'm there for. I'm not here to make money. I've got a day job. I've got other stuff that I'm doing.
That is
my
also
help is in South Africa,
in Pretoria, not in Cambodia.
Yeah, no,
I can't come there. That's a little bit far for me. I've been there, but it's a little bit far, you know. Yeah, so
in Pretoria, sorry.
I'll expose them to the other guys, and if they want to train with me, of course, then we can work it from there, you know. And I can guide people into the right direction, you know. That's my help that I can do for the people in South Africa, you know. And that's what I've made my mind up of doing, you know. I'm not a billionaire or anything like that. If I were, I would do it something like that. But this is the skills that I can do and help someone out, and that's what we're going to do.
That's fantastic. That's really wonderful that you're prepared to do that. I mean, it's first of all, it's your passion and your hobby going through everything. You run a full day job as well to earn an income. And then you're actually doing this for love and care. And this is, I think, what we came from the start that we started with this. It's good to find people that actually give a shit sometimes, because these days there are so many people that don't give a shit. And it's nice to know that you give a shit from the heart. And I know we've been talking a lot of shit right now, but I meant you give a good shit. It's, yeah, so they can contact you. You're actually we're partnering up with the lady from, what did you say it was from?
Life Fit. He gives classes and stuff, so if there's anyone that, especially ladies and kids, moms, you know, moms with small ones that want to learn to protect themselves and the little ones, you know, this is the perfect person the school that I can introduce them to. And they will also be introduced to me. I'll also be a little bit there, but that's the perfect person, especially for the ladies and the little ones.
Okay, and this is in, I just want to confirm, this is in Pretoria area, hey?
Yes, in Pretoria, yes.
Yeah, you're not going to travel to Kimberley for a weekend's training, hey? No, I'm kidding.
We can do that, but then it'll be a seminar. Unfortunately, then we're going to have to charge them,
but it won't be like every Saturday morning, 9 to 10, you will do training. Traveling costs will be included then, which is very high.
Yes, of course. No, like I said, if there's someone that wants to train with me and follow, then we can work it from there. Then I can.
If there's somebody who's not in Pretoria, I'm sure you know a couple of people across the country,
yes,
which might be able to point them in the right direction.
Like
So guys,
said,
don't be scared off of the fact that I'm not in Pretoria and I don't know where to go. I think what Arnold also will do is actually point you in the right direction. So if you're standing there without, and you're similar to me, who doesn't have a direction to go in, and you're looking to start somewhere, whatever, start by actually, I'm just going to confirm your email is right. It's urbanvikingrocket@gmail.com.
That's it.
It's on the screen right down below us, and Instagram is Urban Viking Warrior. You can go and follow there, and that is how you can contact Arnold. And yes, don't be a banana and sit there and go, oh, well, I'm not in Pretoria now, so no one can do anything. You know what? It's very few and far between that you actually find people who actually care and give a damn. So please pick up that keyboard. He can't do it for you. You're the only person who can actually do that. So yeah, if you're not up to it, your own hard cheese. But believe me, I wish I could. And I see old Divan who's watching us as well. He says, "Oh, yeah, man, why not Cambo?" So, we'll have to arrange this.
If I do,
Arnold, I was about a seminar in Cambodia, Arnold.
I'm on my way. I was there in December again.
No, but it's really amazing. I can really spend hours and hours, but I don't want to take up all your time. I know I've already taken up probably a half an hour more than what we should have. But it is absolutely fascinating. It's wonderful to know that there are people like you out there still as well. And yes, I'm sure there are, that you can point us to. But sadly, there's a multitude of people that are cashing in on a scenario and a situation that we've been put into.
Yeah. But there's, like I said, there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of people that they don't get put off or think there is really good instructors in South Africa. Really, there's good schools. Like I said, if there's someone that's not in Pretoria that like to know, I can point them into the right direction. And there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of good guys here. And there's people that want to help. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of guys that want to help people. Don't think that all of them are sharks. I would say 90% aren't. You just need to get to the right guy. There's a lot of people that's here that wants to help us. Help the people out. And I think if you're really passionate and you really want to learn, you're going to get it. You're going to find someone like I did. If I can do it, anybody can.
I think, as you said, that's it. The decision needs to be yours first. People can help you, but they can't make the decision for you.
No, unfortunately not. You need to find out if this is something you want to do. And I think if you're in South Africa or wherever in the country or wherever in the world, and like you said, with all the stuff's going on at the moment, I think everybody needs to have a little bit of introspection and look to themselves. Listen, I need to do something about that. There's no miracle that's going to happen or someone that's going to just come out of the blue and save me. Superman does not exist. He's not here. You're going to have to be your own one. So get your own back. Get your own back. Sadly,
it is what it is. This world is becoming a different place to what we could do, to what I could do. I could, now without having to do the runaway thing, I could clop an oak over in the past and just carry on. That was what the past was. I'm talking about good old 80s and 70s and things like that. Yeah. These days, you've got to be far more tactful, far more competent, far more aware, far more. Unfortunately, it's not a slap and go game.
No, the rules of engagement have changed. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. From my side, I don't want to cover. Have you got anything more to interrogate? So when last were you under interrogation on?
No, I can't tell you. No, you're not scared of it. Bring it. We'll do it.
Look, I would love to have you back on again sometime. And you know what? I'll ask Nelius to keep tabs with you, especially with partnering up and teaching with what's the lady's name?
Madre from LifeFit, yes.
LifeFit.
Yes.
You know what? You could maybe have her on with us as well, going on in the future as well. The streaming session, yeah, you saw how easy it is to get on. We can take up to 10 people on one streaming session, so it's really not restricted to just 2 people talking. And this is what Nelius I enjoyed, and what we said. Yes, you know what? We have our channel that monitors the politics, but we want it to be more. We want it to be about people. We want it to be about what's important. We sometimes want off the cuff because everyone's so busy running down the one way going, it's your fault, it's your fault, this one's doing this one's doing that. We're actually forgetting about the important things, the everyday man in the street. And I think exactly what you're doing right now is the important thing for the everyday man in the street. Guys, this world is changing. Whether it changes left or whether it changes right, you are going to need this. And for people like you, we're very grateful for. Thank you so very, very much. Your time, your passion, your effort, and your absolute caring, it does not go unnoticed. And for coming on the show again, once again, we are most grateful for that too. Guys, I will put the links for if you haven't watched it, or if you're needing the links for the email and for the Instagram, I will put in the comments below as well. I think Nelius will help me with anything else that I need to put in there. And as you see, these two have an affiliation. South Africa, Camboland. So if you can twist an arm or something like that, Devon, he's in Camboland. Yeah. And as you heard Arnold said, he is quite capable because he taught him. Anyway, guys,
we can go anywhere.
There we go. There we go. The world's not that small. I am not going to close off with the normal Peppers Echo intro or logo or whatever. I'm actually going to close it with the same video that we opened up with Urban Viking again. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to pull you out of the screen, but don't go anywhere, because as soon as we are off live, we are able to chat 2 seconds again afterwards.
Cool, man. Cool, man.
Thanks a lot. Guys, been watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Don't forget, next week, same time, same place. We would possibly looking at a live stream on Friday as well, Nelius?
Possibly, yes. It depends on what happens in Senekal on Friday, but we'll know closer to the time if it's going to be possible to do a stream on Friday. I'm still looking for people on the ground, soldiers on the ground, who can actually act as correspondents for us there, because I don't necessarily think the mainstream media is going to tell the true story of what is going to transpire, if anything does, which I don't hope it does. But yeah, we'll know closer to the time if Friday is going to have a stream.
Okay, B. Okay, so yeah, Friday just might be, but definitely next week, Sunday, 7 o'clock, Cambodia, 2 o'clock, South Africa. Thank you very much. Arnold, thanks for stack again. Take care. And guys, remember to be good. And if you can't be good, at least be kind. Take care.